Hello and welcome to the Hellraiser blog. Today's Hellraiser blog, we're going to look at Canelo versus GGG 2, the rematch. Two very good fighters. They've got actually the same reach. Canelo is 2 inches shorter, but like I said, they've got the same reach. They are a very even match. They drew the first fight. A lot of people were complaining, saying it must be corruption involved. I thought Canelo won the first 4 rounds. I thought he lost the middle rounds, and I thought he won the last 2. Well, that's 6 rounds, meaning that it would be a draw. I didn't think, and I've got no allegiance to either of them. Both very good fighters. I'm a big fan of both of them. First came across Golovkin in Monaco, and I had a guy on the undercard. Was a really special moment. I'd heard about him before that. Obviously, right from the amateurs, I'd heard about him, but I'd never seen him in the flesh. The first time I saw him in the flesh was in Monaco. He was boxing an African who was quite limited, very tough guy, but skill-wise he was limited. He really did stand out, Golovkin. He stood out as way above an average fight. You know, he was like really good. And in Canelo, he has an opponent that's really good as well, like a standout opponent. So it has all the makings of a brilliant fight. The tactics for this fight, I think from Canelo's side, I think he needs to do pretty much very similar to what he does last time. The big weakness that he had for me last time was he spent too long during the rounds of having a break, taking a breather. And a lot of that could be actually improved in the second fight, because I think in the first fight there's probably a lot of anxiety in terms of, you know, you're fighting a bigger guy, a guy who's got a phenomenal work rate. GGG actually has like a brilliant Mexican style, probably a better Mexican style than most Mexicans have. He sets his shots up. In this particular fight, their first fight they had together, I felt that Canelo actually nullified Golovkin's jab through his movement. He moved a lot, and that stopped Golovkin being able to get his jab off and his first shot off. But he didn't only move in terms of use his feet to move around. He used a lot of upper body movement, and he seemed to be at least the match of Golovkin when they did engage at close quarters. And I think going into the second fight, I think Canelo will take a lot of confidence from that. The fact that his head movement, bending at the waist, worked. There was one move that puzzled me a little bit, where he sort of span his back foot out as Golovkin's right hand was coming, and he did it over and over again. And I thought, first time he did it, I thought that's quite a funky move. Then he did it again. I thought, well, he doesn't want to keep doing it, because Golovkin will grow sort of wise to it and will sort of step across and throw a right over the top. But he didn't for the whole fight. He you know, Canelo kept using this same sort of move, and I was really surprised, because Golovkin's like a top level boxer, skilled boxer, and I thought you know, he'll spot that, and it'll only take one shot that could unhinge the whole sort of fight for him. But it didn't happen. He just kept doing it. But I'm sure between the first fight and the second fight, Golovkin will have picked up on that, and probably other stuff as well. So we'll see a really interesting fight here. Golovkin, as always, you know, was gobbling up the space, and I think that the fact that Alvarez was moving up in weight, that he was taking on this sort of a beast of a man in Golovkin, would have caused a lot of anxiety before the fight, which may have caused Canelo to hold back a little bit early on. Even though, saying that, I had Canelo winning the first 4 rounds, but this time I think you might see a more confident Canelo, because he realises now he can take the power, and over the last 2 rounds he was dictating the pace again. So I think it actually fares, you know, it weighs up quite well for Canelo. Golovkin, you know, gobbling up the space, moving forwards, not just stepping across. He actually just literally walks opponents down. He's like the best example of walking people down with the head movement, and he just very direct. Golovkin normally uses his jab to set up his body attacks, but Canelo was very clever in using his feet. He was constantly moving and also bending at the waist, which meant that Golovkin was not able to set up his body shots because the jabs weren't landing, meaning that he couldn't then go to the body. I think he'll have some tricks up his sleeve. Very interesting to see what he does to try and make that work better for him in the rematch. Well, I've just come back from America. When I was there, quite a lot of people were saying, "Oh yeah, but Golovkin needs to get out the traps quicker next time. He needs to start early." I'm not sure that Golovkin actually can get out the traps quicker. It reminds me, look, on different scale, I will admit, but I had a fight with a guy in a working man's club called Mark Brooks, and I boxed a guy in Liverpool, Mark Brooks in Liverpool, and the first right, this guy had lots of stoppages on his record anyway, so I boxed him. First round, caught me with a great right hand, brilliant right hand, wobbled me seriously. First time probably in my whole boxing career where I've been wobbled. And but I felt it, and I knew I'd been wobbled when he hit me. Whoa, don't want to take too many of them. Anyway, took a bit of a pasting in the first round. Last 30 seconds, I caught Mark Brooks with a right hand. And I went back to my corner, and the cornerman said to me, right, next round you've got to start it how you finished that round. Because the last 30 seconds I probably won. I did win the round, the last 30 seconds, but I lost the round before that, like time in the round before that. So the second round I went out, knowing with the trainer's words still ringing in my ears, right, you've got to start early this round, get stuck straight into it. And I went out, as my coach had told me. I went out and I walked onto another right hand. And the funny thing about it is that before I got hit, I felt uncomfortable with the way that I was boxing. I thought, this doesn't feel right. Difficult to explain, but I felt like I should be holding back more and maybe sort of trying to tease him and try and frustrate him with my jab and my length a little bit long. And I think there's shades of that in this fight, because I don't think Golovkin can just start quicker. Because I think there's a reason why he didn't engage earlier, because he was finding trouble getting to Alvarez, and he was be vulnerable to Alvarez clipping him one if he did rush him. So he was forced to sort of refrain and to hold back and try and pressure very gradually Canelo. But in the rematch, I think probably I can see more reasons why Canelo would do it better next time than Golovkin. I mean, he's had more time to grow into the weight. He's a younger guy. He's the fresher of the two. He will have probably taken more confidence from the fact that he can cope with all these things that Golovkin can do than Golovkin will have. Plus, you know, there's been delay upon delay upon delay for the rematch, meaning that Golovkin's been in hard training and he's older. He'd be slowing down, I think, now. He won't have got faster, better, stronger. I think he'd actually be a worse fighter than he was in the first fight. Whereas Canelo, I think, is still on the ascendancy, is still getting better. Added to that, the fact that this time, the last time there was like a veneer of sort of respect, and it's sort of a little bit too pally in the build-up, whereas this time there seems to be a bit more needle there. I think they might engage a little bit quicker. There's always the thing in the back of my mind with Canelo as well, the drugs problems that he's had with the performance-enhancing drugs. He's had suspensions and stuff. And I think, look, one thing that people forget, like, look, drugs can't improve your technique. And Canelo got a lot of things right in that first fight. I mean, his right hand was stuck to his face. He was bending at the waist a lot, slipping and then countering. And I think the thing that he did wrong was he spent too long being inactive during the fight. I think if he can get that out of the deal, I think Canelo has got a great chance here. And Canelo is an underdog. He's quite a big underdog. So probably some betting value there for Canelo. And I actually think, you know, this time round Canelo could well maybe hold the centre of the ring a little bit longer and engage with Golovkin at long range for longer periods because of that. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to go for Canelo. I'm going for the underdog. I'm going to say points, but I definitely think a Canelo win. So please, guys, give me your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed today's blog and you haven't already subscribed, please do it now. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon. See you then. Bye-bye.